Welcome to the Front Stretch Race fans, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue. Get over to Joe's Karting today and do yourself right with a little indoor kart racing. Got to, it's the NASCAR Bracket Challenge, Dirk, leading into this weekend's race at Atlanta. I thought it would be kind of fun to maybe throw out a little there we go. Now I can focus. I thought it'd be fun to kind of throw out a challenge from the Front Stretch podcast to the other podcasts that are kind of in the area. So we're entering into our own private little contest with the NASCAR Gambling Podcasts. James Rowland, not sure if he's coming in as part of 93.7 The Ticket, the Finish Line segment, or Rowland Race News, but James is involved in it. And we may pick up a couple other ones after recording before the Atlanta race starts. But as you guys can see on your screen here, we've got the first race, the first matchup set up. So Dirk, looks like matchup number one. We kind of talked about it on Monday. It's Denny Hamlin versus Ty Dillon. This weekend at Atlanta, I mean, Dillon's got a shot, but I think if I'm a betting man, I'm leaning Hamlin. What are you thinking?
Well, I already filled mine out, and I took Hamlin. But if you look right below the green part there, there's a pale yellow line, potential winnings, including upset scoring. That's where that bonus points come in. Again, I don't remember where I read it, but I read every word of all this on Monday.
Okay.
Since I've got time to do stuff like that.
So it's not only win 10 points, get your 10 points for moving on to the next round for Hamlin or whoever you pick moving on to matchup 17, which will be the winner of Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. Those two will compete. You're not only getting the 10 points for those two, 10 each, but you're also getting the differential points between their seedings, which makes a lot of sense.
Only on the upset. You don't get 31 extra points if you pick Hamlin over Dillon. Only if Dillon is picked over Hamlin.
Yeah, right. Okay. If you pick Dillon and he upsets Denny Hamlin.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
And that's all the way through. So if you went down to, like you said, the next matchup, you've got Busch and Keselowski at, what were they, like 16 and 17 or 17, yep. 16 and 17. There it is right there.
Yeah.
And so if you pick Keselowski and he wins, you're going to get the 10 points plus one bonus point for picking the lower seed.
All right, so let's start this off. I think we're both in agreement. Denny Hamlin?
Yep.
Okay, so Hamlin's in. We think Hamlin's going to beat Ty Dillon. This is a tough one. Neither of these drivers have really fared well this year. They both had their struggles, which is the reason why they're seated where they are. What are you thinking for Atlanta and Kyle and Brad?
I went ahead and took Brad.
Okay. I think I like that.
That's a toss-up.
I feel like RFK is just a tick better than RCR right now. And the 8 car, I think, is a little bit behind the 6. So I think I'm fine with going with Brad on that one. Okay. So matchup number 3, Alex Bowman, seated 8th against Joey Logano, seated 25th. My gut's saying Joey, but you've been watching a lot more of these races. What are you thinking?
Well, probably the biggest crapshoot on the track every week this season has been Logano.
Yeah.
He's scored, some pretty decent stage points. But then he just, gets a screw up somewhere. He got his win at Texas, which is almost, it's as close to this track as what you're going to get. And Bowman's, he's either a checkers or wreckers. I mean, he hasn't won yet, but he's either, a top 5 car or top 8 car, or he's not finishing.
Yeah.
So I took Logano.
Okay. I like Logano too. I think that's a good pick for us. I have more faith in Logano than I do Bowman right now.
But I just assume not give any more of my personal picks just because of, if we're going to have a contest here.
Oh,
giving away 3 of them, and one of them is obviously a gimme.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in their right mind in this deal is going to take Ty Dillon to upset Hamlin.
Maybe Ty Dillon fans, but that may even be a stretch.
I don't know if there are any.
May not
I'm
be.
a nice kid, or a nice young man. We met him and interviewed him before,
Yeah.
you know.
All right.
But
Matchup number 4, Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez. I like Bubba for this. Although 2311 is struggling, Trackhouse seems to have a little bit more speed. I think I'm leaning Bubba on this one.
like I said, any of these matchups, when you look at it, you almost have to look at what you're going to have the next race.
Oh, so you're thinking.
Well, no, I'm just saying you got to look ahead because you're going from Atlanta to a road course.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, to 2 road courses back to back.
Mm.
You're going to Chicago and then Sonoma.
Yeah, interesting insight. Where Daniel's probably going to thrive a little bit better if you can get him to move on out of the matchup number 4 in round number 1. He's probably got a pretty good shot of beating Logano.
And
Is
Bubba's
that what you're
had
saying?
plenty of DNFs this year.
Yeah. All right. Are you talking me into Suarez?
No, I'm just trying to tell you to look ahead just a little bit. Don't be short sighted on this contest.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I wasn't even
But
thinking that.
you can't go all the way to the final and go, well, God, if Suarez is in against Tyler Reddick or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, having worked for NASCAR in this, I kind of look at the make matchups as they go through too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's going to want to be like you get into the final 4. I know NASCAR does not want them all Fords, all Chevys, or all Toyotas.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm thinking Suarez then. Are you okay with that pick?
It's your pick.
All right. Well, this is our thing. I mean, we're both trying to beat the NASCAR gambling podcast guys.
I thought we were all putting in our own entry.
No. This is our 2 entry. Our podcast is putting in this entry. The NASCAR gambling podcast has their entry. It's not you and me are competing against each other. You and I are a team trying to beat the other guys.
Oh, see, I thought we were all throwing in $100 and all making an entry, and then it was the winner take all deal.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's why I was curious when you said you don't want to give away all your secrets, and I'm like, well, let's give them away. We're trying to win here.
Well, I'm sitting here. We're going to give them all away right here. Then those guys are going to know what we're taking.
Oh, they already put theirs in. They did it.
Okay.
They did it on their podcast last night.
And James already got his in too.
I believe so.
I mean, he's got Bubba winning the whole deal, so we already know that.
He probably does. All right. So now we're on the same page. Matchup number 5. I like Nemechek. I think he's having a much stronger season than Barry is. Although Barry's got to win, I like Nemechek.
And Barry, now we already ran Atlanta once this year, correct?
No, I think Atlanta's a one. No, we did earlier this year. It was like the third or fourth race.
Yeah. And Barry won a stage in it and was running like 4th on the last lap and got put in the wall on the back straightaway.
Okay.
So Barry gets around this place.
Okay. That's good insight. What do you want to go Barry on this or Nemechek?
No, I took Barry.
Okay. All right. Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon.
To me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I don't see much of a matchup there. We're going Austin Dillon.
You're doing yeah, then we're going to have Austin Dillon on the next 2 road courses. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But see, that's where you just look at that, and you basically took Chase Elliott for almost 3 rounds.
Yeah. Ross Chastain and Eric Jones. Chastain.
Chastain's got to win, but he's kind of having a screwy season.
Yeah.
But, Eric Jones has just been hit and miss. He's got some top 10 runs, but, I think he might be in the top 20 in points.
Okay. Yep.
But
Chastain, Bell, and Stenhouse.
no brainer.
No brainer. Briscoe and Gregson. No
Another no
brainer.
brainer.
Okay. Priest and Byron. Matchup number 10. Priest is 15th. Byron is 18th.
Yeah, see, Byron's just in a little slump. Otherwise, he should have still been a top 4 or 5 seed. But
So this
like
is
Denny Hamlin said, the way they seeded this
right.
deal.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. This is probably the scenario that Denny was talking about, where a driver had a couple of bad races, didn't have the finishes they should have. Williams, obviously a championship contender at Hendrick. So we'll take Byron over Priest. Blaney over Hocevar.
And here's another one. You've got somebody with Hocevar who hasn't got a few good finishes that he deserved. And Blaney's already got a win, and it's outside a blown engine earlier, which was at Phoenix, I think. He's been fairly consistent. He had a few problem finishes early, but the last few weeks he's definitely been getting her going. But
yeah, I would say Blaney over Hocevar. While I think in a couple of years Hocevar is going to be challenging Blaney, I don't think he's quite there yet.
Well, to me, if you're going to look for an upset and to take a shot, this would be one of the races to do it, because Hocevar can definitely, he's got a shot to win, especially the last several weeks. Every time he takes the track,
yeah,
he's been very fast. But I don't recall him doing a whole lot of anything at the road courses.
And Blaney seems to be a little bit better at the road courses.
Right? Yeah, he's had a couple decent finishes at the last couple. So
I think I want to. I mean, I like your idea with the upset. We got to kind of be. We got to think outside the box if we're going to beat the NASCAR Gambling Podcast guys. So what do you think, Hocevar or Blaney?
I think Blaney.
Okay, I do like Blaney just because, like you mentioned with the road courses, he's a much better chance at scoring those points moving on to the next 2 rounds.
Even though look at who he's going to be matched up with.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Kyle's kind of in a slump too. If I'm going small thinking, I'm going Blaney over Larson next.
Well, I'm taking Reddick over Larson.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that's one of my upsets.
And
I think they're both about equal on the road course.
Okay. Well, let's go Reddick. I don't have a lot of faith in Kyle. I think his performance at Eagle Raceway has really shaken his confidence. I think he's a man that needs some help. So I think I go Reddick right now. And by the way, I'm just kidding about the confidence thing. Michael McDowell and AJ Allmendinger, matchup number 13. McDowell's seated 11th, Allmendinger seated 22nd.
And they're both road course racers.
Yeah.
But I think McDowell is probably the better of the two. That's why he's got the higher seed on an oval.
Yeah, I think so. At Atlanta, McDowell's going to get the win, but at the next 2 road courses, I think Allmendinger is going to fare better. But I don't see Allmendinger getting out of Atlanta with that matchup unless we're going to go with another upset.
Well, I don't see him necessarily beating McDowell. McDowell just ran 3rd or 4th or whatever in Mexico. I mean, McDowell's a road course racer. That's what he is.
Yeah,
that's his training. I mean, so that's where his win came at Indy a few years ago, just like AJ's. They both came at Indy on the road courses.
So, what are you thinking, McDowell or Allmendinger? McDowell?
Yeah, I want to look at McDowell.
Okay, we'll go McDowell. Ty Gibbs and Justin Haley.
No brainer.
Easy one there. We go Ty Gibbs. By the way, Ty Gibbs was seated 6th, Haley 27th.
Matchup number he crashes out or something like that. That's the only issue there.
Right. Matchup number 15, Zane Smith at 14. Austin Cindric at 19. I kind of like Cindric a little bit more.
Yeah, I took Cindric. This is one of them that again, they seeded off of these last couple races, but Cindric's, much more seasoned, and as far as I'm concerned, a better racer than Zane Smith. So,
All right, final pick in the opening round at Atlanta, Chris Buescher, number 3, and Todd Gilliland at 30th. We got to go Buescher at 3.
Yeah, to me, yeah, that's another no-brainer.
Even though I kind of feel like that seating is probably a little higher than he is season-wise. I think he's still better matchup-wise. Yeah.
Well, Butcher's got like 5 top 10s in a row. That's why
Yeah.
you see it.
Right. All right, so our opening round is done. All of our 16 picks. Now we're going to come back up and we're going to start working on it. Round number 2. This is the race at Chicago, the street race. Brad Keselowski against Denny Hamlin. Again, Denny in number 1, Keselowski in number 17. I think Brad's probably maybe a little bit better at road courses than Denny. But Denny's got the equipment and the momentum.
I went with Hamlin.
Yeah. It's going to be tough not to in any of these matchups. All right, matchup number 18, second matchup in the round of Chicago. Joey Logano, 25 against Daniel Suarez, 24. I like the 99.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's a better road racer than Logano. I don't think Logano's ever won at a road course.
Yeah. Josh Berry against Chase Elliott. We're going Elliott.
Yeah, no brainer there.
Okay. Ross Chastain against Christopher Bell. No brainer.
For me, it's not. I'd be with Bell.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Matchup number 21 in the round of second round at Chicago. Chase Briscoe, number 2 against William Byron, number 18. I like Willie B.
Yeah. See, I went with Briscoe. I think he's the better road racer of the two.
Okay.
But there's again, you're crap shooting. It's like saying, which one are you going to take out of these two at, Dagger or something. It's you get into the road course and there's so much can happen because there's so many more moving parts.
Right. You make the call. You watch a lot more of these races than I do.
Well, if you want to go with an upset type deal, just because you can get 16 more points with Byron, but if he doesn't move along, then you're losing 20 points.
Yeah.
So I went with Briscoe. Right now, he's rolling good. He's been rolling good since Kansas.
And he is in JGR equipment. Okay, we'll go Briscoe. Blaney and Reddick. Blaney. Or are you thinking Reddick?
Well, Reddick won at Coda a couple years ago. He's won 2 road courses, I think. So, yeah, this was as far as I took Blaney. I went with Reddick on the road course.
Okay. We'll go with Reddick because that'll also get us some nice bonus points if he does move on. Ty Gibbs and Michael McDowell.
I went with McDowell on this one.
Okay.
A couple bonus points if he takes the win.
Austin Cindric at 19 and Chris Buescher at 3.
Buescher's a solid road racer, so is Cindric.
Henske does seem to do road racing really well.
But, Buescher was in the top 10 at Mexico. Like I said, he's got like 5 top 10s in a row.
Okay. Should we keep rolling with Briscoe? Or Buescher, sorry?
Yeah, for the one race.
Okay. All right, back to the top. Round number 3, this will be at Sonoma. Denny Hamlin against Daniel Suarez. I think this is where Suarez's run comes to an end.
Yep.
Okay, moving Hamlin on. Matchup number 26, Chase Elliott against Christopher Bell. This is a tough one. I'm thinking Bell.
Yeah, see, I went with Elliott.
You went with Elliott?
Yeah. As we're getting down now to where, you're almost looking at you'd be putting 2 Toyotas in the final 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you still might have that. But I don't think they're going to let those 2 Toyotas match up in the semifinal. That's my prediction. So I think Chase Elliott.
Okay. All right, we'll go Elliott. Chase Briscoe against Tyler Reddick. What do you think?
I don't remember how Reddick's done at Sonoma. I don't remember him doing anything super fancy. Again, you got two Toyotas, so I'd go. What's the other matchup down below? Who's the winner of that going to face?
McDowell and Busher.
And see, we're going to go with I like McDowell there.
Okay.
I think he's the one that's going to give you a lot of bonus points going through. So doesn't make a whole lot of difference up here on. Well, it makes a lot of difference if you take Reddick because of the bonus points.
Yep.
But again, I still think Briscoe's got a roll going. So I went with Briscoe. So
all right, let's be smart. 40 points is important.
I know.
All right. Round number 4 at Dover. I'm Hamlin. By the way, I didn't mention it just because we're on the screen. Hamlin and Elliott are the matchups for matchup number 29.
Yeah. Hamlin's got wins at Dover. I don't think Elliott has yet, but I know Hendrick has.
Yeah, and by the way, if it hasn't been relevant or evident yet, I'm pretty Hamlin on the championship this year too. He's hot right now. He's doing great. But that's a little bit of a side note. All right, Briscoe and McDowell.
I say I went with McDowell again
At Dover.
Yeah, just so I didn't have a Toyota matchup in the final.
Okay. So you went McDowell?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Final round, the final race at Indianapolis. Am I crazy? I mean, I assume we're going Hamlin on this.
Yeah, I went with Hamlin to win it all.
Okay. So Hamlin's our champion for this.
So if he gets knocked out in the first round, we can just go ahead and put our money in.
And for the tiebreaker, what will the winning driver's win margin be in the final race at Indy between 0.001 and 100 seconds? I'm thinking like 25 or 30. I mean, sometimes those races at Indy can get strung out.
Yeah, but I wouldn't think it's going to be like that because there's usually a late yellow there. I don't remember what I put down on my thing, but
what do you say? What do you want? What 12, 15 seconds?
No, I was going to say I think it'll be what I didn't know is if the what will the winning driver's win margin be in the final race? Now, is that winning the race?
Oh,
or is that beating McDowell?
I would assume it'd be beating who we have chosen to be McDowell, his matchup. Because you don't know if Hamlin's going to win the race. So when they say winning driver, I assume they mean the driver we picked to win the contest. Their win margin over the driver we didn't pick to win the contest.
Yeah. Well, I remember after I got to reading that again, I said, "Oh shit!" Now I remember, is I put 100 seconds.
Oh, couple of laps.
Oh, not at Indy. At only a little over a lap.
No.
I mean, it's the same length as Daytona, and Daytona it's like 49 seconds a lap, but Indy you got to slow down 4 times.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking if McDowell got that far, he'd probably crash or get caught up in something because I didn't think he'd qualify super good at Indy.
Yeah.
And so if he crashes out halfway through the race, only makes sense to have it picked at 100. That's my thought on the whole deal.
Okay. I like that.
I don't think McDowell finishes.
And I've got no argument in other way, so we're going to go with 100 seconds.
All righty.
We're going with $1. Okay. And the bracket is submitted. We're all set. We got Denny Hamlin winning it all. So, all right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back in turn number 2. We got a couple of news stories to talk about, and we're going to get you set for this weekend's race in Atlanta. Hang tight. Dirk and I are going to be right back.
One more thing real quick, since we're on this bracket.
Yep.
There is a thing going around on Facebook now. They've got, I don't know, the president of Echo Park Raceway or whatever, the Atlanta racetrack on there, filling out his bracket. And he goes, well, somebody's going to win $1 million. That's not the way this works. The $1 million is if the bracket is perfect.
Right.
You've got to have a perfect bracket to get the $1 million.
Yeah.
Which could happen. There's going to be 20, 30 million entries.
Yeah. Especially for $1 million.
But I don't remember when the last time the NCAA basketball tournament had a perfect entry. So
I can't remember when either. I think this year, like the round of 16 or something like that, the Elite Eight is when everybody's brackets were busted.
Yeah. Even though we're still a couple rounds short of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more things that can happen in a race.
I feel like that too.
Bad pit stop, pit road penalty. That's what scares me about Hamilton.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think he's had one this year, knock on wood.
So he's cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, just keep that in mind, people, when you do this. And Cody, just don't cry when you lose.
I love it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in turn number 2.